Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Desk. I am your host, Splash. You can call me Ryan. You can call me a loser because my Ravens got dunked on last night. As always, we're joined with Jack and Stefan. How's it going, boys?
How's it going, everyone? Pretty good.
Fantastic. I'm still kind of on an emotional high from this past week. It was awesome to have football back. It was
from
really
Thursday to Splash. Monday was just chock full of games.
The whole week, it was awesome.
I can see the heartbreak.
If you want my full thoughts on Ravens Raiders last night, I did a 35-minute live stream. I only have maybe two things to add to it. Calais Campbell was very good. He was our highest rated defensive player. Big shout out Max Crosby. He led the NFL in pressures. He had 13. And Ronnie Stanley had one of the worst games of his NFL career. Tyree Phillips was somehow worse, and he's also injured now. And Alejandro Villanueva was somehow worse than that. So as I guess I said yesterday, but if you want a full breakdown, check out the show from last night. Otherwise, you want to start with Thursday Night Football?
Let's do it.
All right.
So Tampa Bay won 31-29. Impressive showing from everyone. And I thought it was perhaps the best game, the most well-played game. There's a solid argument that Ravens Raiders was a better game of like just pure stupidity,
straight up better.
Yeah, like rewatch value, you're probably going to lean the just pure stupidity of Ravens Raiders. But I think from a pure football standpoint, Bucs Cowboys was the best game, and I think it's quintessential football. Like if I watch a football game, like if that was in the Super Bowl or NFC title game, that would be an unreal game. I think Dak played awesome. I thought Brady was fantastic. I thought there were 6 receivers that were great. Gronk had a throwback game. Both offensive lines were. It was such a great chess match. Like Todd Bowles versus Kellen Moore was unreal. Like the blocking, La'el Collins had a great game. He's suspended now. Tyron Smith flashback game. Connor McGovern had a good game replacing Zach Martin, and Ezekiel Elliott. Like, I don't think there was a better player across the league than Ezekiel Elliott as a pass blocker. Now, as a runner, he was ineffective, but what a game. What a game.
Yeah, I mean, that was it was fun. I thought that was the most entertaining kickoff game of the last few years. I thought 2020 we had who did we have? I mentioned that. We had the Chiefs and the
Texans and Chiefs.
Oh,
that was
the Texans
dumbest games.
Was
what?
That's weird.
That's like a capper for like 2020. Texans Chiefs opening game.
And then the year before it was Pittsburgh got slaughtered by New England. Like, I get it that it's supposed to be a high profile matchup, but a lot of them generally don't live up to the hype. The last one I remember that was really, really, that was awesome. Chiefs Pats in 2017 was really good. I just straight up have no idea who the Eagles played after they won the Super Bowl.
Falcons. That was actually kind of close. It was a bit of a mess, but
okay, yeah, because I have no recollection of that game whatsoever.
The only thing
Panthers Broncos was really good in 2016. I will say
the only thing about the Eagles Falcons game that I remember off the top of my head, there are two things. One is the repeat of the Philly special. Two is the Eagles or the Falcons throwing an incomplete pass on the last play of the game on 4th down.
Was that to Julio Jones as well, and he dropped it?
Yeah, I think that's
that's the only like to Jack. That's the only thing I can remember that you can tell me from that.
Yeah, that was a really dumb game.
Fully special part 2. That's all I'll say.
Okay,
that's all I remember.
Stefan, what are your overarching thoughts from Thursday night?
To be honest, it was a lot closer of a game than I thought. I took the spread at 8.5. I should have listened. I should have listened. You were right, and
close to getting Dallas right, and then Brady just comes and ruins it.
I just think overall the defense they give up a lot of points. That secondary is starting to kind of scare me. Murphy and Bunting might be out for the season now. They're saying 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, it just looks like the defensive line did its job. I will credit Zeke Elliott for taking the nastiest pass block up the middle from Devin White and just eating it how he did, because I watched it and I'm like, that was an amazing play. Forget what happened on that play. That block, like you said, Zeke was great with it. Everybody ate. Antonio Brown was back to 2015. Antonio Brown
balled out.
Oh man, Brown was great. Cooper was great. Lamb was great. Godwin did have a couple drops, but otherwise he was really nice.
I think everyone had a game that they were supposed to, except for Mike Evans. I think that they just heavily covered Mike Evans more because they knew it. But then again, that opened up the other receivers. Dak looks good. Brady looks like he's back to form. The offenses look like they're going to be like 25-point scorers again, like they always are. I just love football like that, and I just love talking about the games like that. It was too close to comfort. Don't get me wrong. Yes, yeah. I got a new setup. I wasn't doing the white sheets anymore. I got everything. I had to go big with it. But yeah, the game. If I could see a game like that every week, I might have a heart attack by the end of the season. But I won't hate it though. So
yeah, for real. So let's move on to the Sunday slate of games, and we don't really have an order for this, but I want to touch on a team that I thought was perhaps the most impressive team of the window, and that would be the Arizona Cardinals. As much as you probably don't want to hear it, Jack.
No, I would love to talk about this. More accurately, I would also love to talk about how the Titans laid an egg in this game.
This is true. And I will say one of the themes I want to touch on today is there were five of my top 8 teams in my power rankings lost. Only one of those was to another top 8 team. That would be Cleveland. But Baltimore lost, Tennessee lost, Green Bay lost, Buffalo lost. Some movers and shakers early on. Let's talk about Arizona, Tennessee first. Arizona, it's hard to just whack a team as good as Tennessee. It's hard to just totally stop everything they're doing and then exploit them on defense. You can sometimes do one, you can sometimes do the other, but they controlled this game from the opening coin toss. It was tremendous. Kyler had an awesome game. He had the most big time throws of the week. He had 6. He did have 1 turnover, but hey, 5 touchdowns, 1 turnover. It works. I'm cool with it. So he was unreal. Christian Kirk caught a couple touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins caught a couple touchdowns, and Chandler Jones,
the star of the show.
Was he Aaron Donald that game or something?
3, 4, 5. Taylor Lewan, I saw a clip earlier, also got run over by Budda Baker. There was like a 130-pound difference there. What? Lewan
that's exactly what happens right there.
Yeah, Lewan was horrendous. Roger Saffold actually had a solid game on the interior, but just
he tends to. I miss Roger Saffold.
Yeah, Arizona had a ridiculous game. It was one of the most well-rounded games, and it's not even like, say, New Orleans had an awesome game, but I think some of that was Aaron Rodgers just didn't play well.
Aaron Rodgers didn't show. You want to talk about teams that laid an egg? The Packers. What was that?
It's funny because I get like flashbacks when Splash was talking about how like the Ravens can or anyone could lose a game by that much. Now watch the Packers come out next week and put up 45, and Rodgers goes for 4 touchdowns, and everything's back to normal in a way. Because we had 9 underdogs win this week. 9 teams that were not supposed to win came out somehow and won, and Houston was one of those teams that I was so sure was going to lose.
Yeah. I think I got in my own head. All off season I said, okay, Houston's going to win week 1 and they're going to suck the rest of the year. And then I got looped in and saw Jacksonville -3 and thought Jacksonville's a much better team. They're going to have a much better quarterback play. Tyrod looked awesome.
Tyrod balled.
He balled. Brandon Cooks was great. All 3 running backs ended up with a touchdown, and they picked Lawrence off 3 times. And the stats with Lawrence, he did throw 3 touchdowns, but they were down, I believe, 30 at one point in the fourth quarter.
31-7, I believe it was, before it was 21.
Just a bunch of too little, too late touchdowns for.
Yeah, and I think I'll even transition this into San Francisco, Detroit, because San Francisco nearly had an all-time meltdown. They were up, I believe, 24, and then Detroit scores 2-point conversion at 16. Onside kick scores, it's 8. Then San Francisco gets the onside kick. They convert first down. Debo fumbles 2 steps later. Detroit starts walking the other direction, and they fail on a 4th and 9.
Jared Goff being himself.
Welcome to Detroit. The Lions doing what Lions do best. They get you to the point where they
covered 2, which was excruciating.
Yeah,
that's even worse that they covered.
I don't think Goff played a terrible game, but I don't think he played. Right. He was
He had like what? Four touchdowns?
3, I think.
3 or 4,
2.
I think he had, but like still,
it was a typical Goff game. Like he still found a way to turn the ball over.
Trey. Yeah, the I said as soon as it happened, name a more iconic duo than Jared Goff and underneath linebackers. It's like I did a quarterback power ranking the other week, and I had Garoppolo and Goff next to each other, and they don't just share initials. They're like essentially identical in the way they play.
Basically the same QB.
Yeah, it's
what's ironic is that one of them grew up a 49ers fan. The other one is on the 49ers.
Yeah. It's like Goff is like a tiny bit more like arm talent-y. That's why he was the number 1 pick. Garoppolo is a tiny bit more mobile, but they make the exact same mistakes. You watch the film and you cover up the number and the helmet logos. I can't tell the difference between Goff and Garoppolo. Ironically, they played against each other today or Sunday. I thought Garoppolo was fine. To me, there's like a large tier of quarterbacks. It goes from maybe like 14 to 23 that any given week they can be like a solid NFL quarterback. They're going to have some duds. There are some weeks that Garoppolo looks awful. There's some weeks that Goff looks awful, but they're not going to have any top 10 weeks, right? They're not going to have many of them, but they're just going to give you like a solid, this is an average NFL quarterback performance, and they are impossible to rank. It is the hardest part of what I do is ranking quarterbacks between like Derek Carr and Jared Goff or Andy Dalton.
Didn't we see Trey Lance a little bit too in this one?
Yes, touchdown.
He was the first rookie to score.
Honestly, I think all the rookies, receiver, running backs, quarterbacks, all had a great week one, honestly, too.
Besides Ramondre Stevenson.
Right.
Yeah, that was... I feel bad for Stevenson. You don't want to get, if there's a doghouse you don't want to get in, it's Bill Belichick's doghouse. So while we're on the subject, Dolphins 17, Patriots 16. I think New England was a tiny bit better, but Miami forced a couple turnovers. Xavier Howard had a great game. Eguavoen had a couple pressures. I think Miami did enough to win. New England had a couple moments that they unraveled. Mac Jones looked great, though. Mac Jones
looked really good.
Mac Jones walked into the NFL as a polished quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be top 10, ever, maybe even ever. But he looked really good, and there is some value in having a quarterback that looks good. Having presence, having like a good pocket. He was great mobility in the pocket. Just the little. Again, I don't want to scout the helmet and say he's Brady, but watch Brady, see what he moves, see what he does in the pocket. He's not Lamar, he's not Kyler, he's not Russell Wilson, he's not running around in circles. He is staying in the pocket, and he's sensing pressure, and he's excellent at it. Now, it was a pretty conservative game plan, but it is a awesome Miami defense, especially the secondary, so I can understand the conservativeness. And I thought he played really well. I thought he was very polished. He didn't make many mistakes, if any. And the other rookie quarterbacks, Wilson had a rough stretch early. Lawrence had 3 interceptions. There were some ugly interceptions too. But Mac was awesome.
I think he's honestly it's a loss, yes, but it's more of a win for Bill Belichick in the long run because he looked like he was poised. Even players like it was Jonnu Smith and Andrews came out and said, hey, we have to take some of the responsibility as us. He's like, I let Matt get sacked a few times. The offensive line didn't play 100%. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry did what they could, but you could just tell that team is just slowly getting it together. And when they get clicking and when they're going to get – and I feel like, honestly, they overworked Damon Harris with those 40 snaps, over Raheem. I just don't know if they were there yet. That's why Miami got the early jump on them, got to the point
in New England, by the way.
Exactly. You don't see that.
You don't see that ever, but this sounds other than the fact that it was in New England, a Miami win in New England, it sounds like a typical Patriots in September. Like we've kind of seen this narrative before where September they're still kind of getting it together a little bit, but if they are going to show something later this year, they will show it soon.
For sure. So I'm going to stay in the same division. Buffalo versus Pittsburgh up in Orchard Park. First of all, it's really hard to win a game with awful quarterback play. The Steelers, congratulations, you did it. Your quarterback was a train wreck for 60 minutes, and you still won. And you should have won by two possessions, but you got to go for the field goal with 30 seconds left to try to make it a one-score game. Ben Roethlisberger was awful. That's one takeaway. But the Pittsburgh defense, until Max Crosby clobbered the Ravens, they had 3 of the top 5 guys in pressures, according to, I think, Next Gen Stats. Hayward had 12, Watt had 8, Ingram had 8. I think PFF had Ingram at 5, but the point still applies. Ingram was getting pressure in his debut with the Pittsburgh. Hayward was unreal, and TJ Watt was wreaking havoc every single play. And
earning that contract.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, TJ Watt, I think, showed why he got extended.
Now, speaking of contracts, 6 years, $258 million to lay an egg like that in your first game. Ouch. And I'm pumped the brakes on the Allen criticism. He's still going to be pretty good. Aaron Rodgers had one of his worst games of his career. So you can't, it's 1 week. It's against perhaps the best defense in the NFL, against a defense that can generate pressure with 4. And that is, I don't know, outside of quarterback play, that is the scariest thing you have to deal with. That if a team can generate pressure with 4, they can do so much in coverage that you can just kind of erase guys, right? Because just think about the matchups you have that as an offense, you're going to have a maximum of 5 players out in pass patterns, right? Defensively, if you get pressure with 4, you have 7 guys to cover 5. So let's say, for the sake of the argument, that you have Stefan Diggs, which, hey, guess what? The Buffalo Bills have Stefan Diggs. You can bracket him. You can put 2 guys. You can straight up Calvin Johnson him because you're getting pressure with 4. So now you take him out of the equation. Now you have 6 guys to cover you have 5 guys to cover the remaining 4. And you have really good coverage. Well, Pittsburgh has really good coverage players. Minka had a down game, but Hayden was awesome. Terrell Edmonds was whatever. But yeah, Pittsburgh is scary. I drew the comparison. It's a once-in-a-decade defense. They had an unreal game against a good Buffalo offense.
And Big Ben didn't help them. I can't get over how bad he was. And Najee Harris is good, but they were not helping him at all either. I saw so many bad runs.
That was a horrendous offensive performance.
Najee, you were supposed to carry me in fantasy this week, bro.
And did Big Ben have a play-in for that game? Was he hey, let me try to Buffalo spread and let's get them to win? But the defense is no, we got to win this game because you suck. I just don't see Big Ben, honestly, after that game. Is he going to finish the season? Because he looked bad. And it's not subpar bad. He looked really bad.
Who's their backup?
Rudolph, Hodges is with you guys.
I don't like Rudolph.
Haskins. He's not.
Oh, never mind.
Haskins, right?
Haskins. Ooh. Okay. I do want to throw this out there that I get everything that I say about the Steelers is going to be taken with a grain of salt because I am wearing a Baltimore Ravens hat right now. But I can assure you the defense was amazing, and Ben Roethlisberger was new echelons of bad. That's eye test. That's PFF grade. That's just watch the game. just honestly put on the game, and Ben Roethlisberger.
If you think you can handle the game, put it on.
Yeah.
If he would have
Ben Roethlisberger did practically nothing to help Pittsburgh out. I do think it's an impressive win. I think Pittsburgh is a scary team because not many teams had the offensive line to deal with a team that can get pressure with 4. How often are you going to play perhaps the best edge in football, perhaps a top 5 interior defensive lineman, and they didn't have 2 Sunday. So you have 2 top 10 interior guys, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Devin Bush, who's flying around, Schobert, Hayden, Fitzpatrick, Edmonds, who's somehow an league average player now, Cameron Sutton. What are you supposed to do? This is an awesome defense, and I think I'm pretty set on Pittsburgh making the playoffs. If they can do that week in and week out, and there has been no information in the last 5 years to tell me they're not going to get pressure every single week, this is a scary team. They can't move the ball.
Play better.
They can't. They straight up cannot move the football. But the 2015 Broncos couldn't move the football, and they won the Super Bowl. The 2000 Ravens had, I believe they went Trent
Dilfer's year.
Yeah, they went 12 quarters without scoring a touchdown. not only were they winning games in that stretch somehow, some way, but they won the Super Bowl with an awful offense. Like,
it's possible. It's possible, but then again,
it's hard. It's hard.
Exactly, because if Big Ben plays like this all season, then that's going to be a subpar team. If Big Ben can throw at least 2.5 touchdowns a game, can be consistent, and they can get Najee Harris.
If he's just average, if he's just even slightly below average, he just has to be better than quarterback 32. And that's I talked about this at length with Denver. As long as your quarterback isn't the worst in the NFL, you're going to be good. And Denver, I think this is a natural segue. Denver 27, New York Giants 13. Denver, the Giants had a late, like quite literally last second touchdown. So it was really 27-7. I thought Teddy was great. Melvin Gordon was kind of bottled up. Then he had the 70-yard touchdown run.
The 70-yard TD.
Javonte Williams was fine, cool, whatever. I thought the offensive line played pretty well, and I thought the receiver core was all right. It does suck that Judy is injured now, but Von Miller, welcome back. He was awesome. Both he and Chandler Jones came off serious injuries and were just just awesome. So I love to see that. I love to see the guys. You face a setback, and then you come back and you're, firing on all cylinders. That was elite Von Miller again. That was elite Chandler Jones again. So big props to them. What do you guys think about how Denver played, how the Giants played?
Personally,
Jones?
I have two things on this. Von Miller, like I said, looks great. Awesome. I love it. It's good to see guys come back like that. That defense could be scary. They did just lose, I think, Darby, right? Or who did just lose? So, yeah.
Darby and Judy, I think those were the
so those two injuries do suck, but I mean they have Hamler, they have Tim Patrick, looked like he deserves to be a receiver too, Cortland Sutton. I just want to get Teddy Bridgewater a brand new helmet. I've seen so many times where I see his helmets coming off. I'm like, can we start a GoFundMe account for this man? Get him a new helmet. I feel bad because he looked good. He just can't keep his helmet on. But all jokes aside, they do look like a Denver Broncos team that could be not in contention for that West spot, even though the whole West went undefeated. They all look decently good.
Yeah, the whole AFC and NFC West.
Yeah, it's the first. I think it's the first time since I don't even remember what year.
It's a long time, but Denver looks like they can compete. And if they can say subpar and Teddy Bridgewater could be a shade of what he was in New Orleans, watch out. That wild card spot could be up for grabs.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's see. Kansas City, Cleveland, that actually might have been the game of the week. That was the best game on Sunday. And
game of Sunday, I'll say.
Yeah,
My game of the week still under the Monday night game, but this one was.
Here's the thing, folks. I was right about both Dallas and Cleveland. The results did not indicate that I was right, but it played out about as well as I could have imagined as a Dallas money line better and a Cleveland money line better. That for Dallas's sake, if there's 30 fewer seconds on the clock, they win that game. Brady doesn't have time to drive down the field. So they, for all intents and purposes, won that game, and then Dallas won it over them, right? So Dallas didn't lose the game, if that makes sense. Dallas can feel good moving forward.
Oh, 100%. We thought it was going to be a blowout. We thought that game was going to be 27-14, 35, a shutout almost, but.
Yeah, and Cleveland, I think, played an unbelievable game.
Their damn punter. It wasn't their
3.5 quarters. 3.5 quarters. They were phenomenal. They kept the lid on everything Kansas City tried to do. They moved the ball efficiently. And then
the fourth quarter happened. We had the punter fumble the ball.
Why didn't you try to kick it? Why do you try to run it? Just do something like rugby style. Just get rid of the ball in the
thing or something.
It's the Chiefs.
That was rough. That was hard to watch. As a Ravens fan, that was hard to watch. It was hard to watch a team self-destruct like that. But there are a lot of takeaways for Cleveland, and I do want to say Baker Mayfield is 1,000% a top 10 quarterback.
100%.
And I understand the concerns. I understand why Frankie or Nick pushed. Is Baker Mayfield legit? Come on now. He had one bad pass in the entire game. There was one play in that game that I said, Baker, don't do that. And the kicker is he wasn't even on his normal platform. Baker Mayfield has way more than enough arm strength to get that ball out of bounds. But his foot, like right at the very end, got hit, and he lost 5 yards, 5 yards of depth. If he has full arm strength there, full throw power there, to use a Madden term, that ball's out of bounds, and no one cares. No one cares. But he gets hit on the foot. He loses a little bit of his platform. His arm strength isn't Patrick Mahomes, so the ball lands near the sideline in the arms of a Chiefs defender. So that's a play that he got pressured into an interception. Yes, it happened to be with 2 minutes to go in the fourth. I get it. It happened to be on what could have been the game-winning drive. I get it. But Baker is a gamer. Baker plays with a lot of swagger, and that matters. So I do want to say that Nick Wright, I think, had a very good point about this game, that it's probably in Cleveland's best interest that they lost, but had an educational loss, right? So you gain nothing if you get killed, but you also gain nothing if you win narrowly. Let's say they get the punt off and then they stop Kansas City on the ensuing drive and they run the game clock out. You don't gain any new information. You don't know what you really did wrong because you just beat the Chiefs. You are on cloud 9. You are top of the world. Everything is coming up sunny. You don't know what you screwed up. But here, you got to focus in again. You got to say, hey, if this season goes as well as we think it's going to go, we're going to be seeing them again in January at Arrowhead. What are we going to do next time? So there are some positive takeaways from Cleveland. I think Cleveland really established themselves as a top 5 team in the NFL, which is wild to say.
When you hold the Chiefs trailing for as long as they did, I think that definitely speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's more of a game for the Chiefs to look back and say, where did we mess up? Otherwise, Cleveland's like, we did good. I mean, it really was the momentum from that punt. But, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm like, okay, teams kind of saw what they have to do to get us where Cleveland got us. And thank God if it wasn't for that one incident in the most key time of the game, the most Brown-esque old school type of thing. Because, are the Browns going to be a team that will go and will be a 12-win team, or are they going to be the old Browns that we are always used to? That's where I'm just debating. I can't believe it's the old Browns because they've paid money. They have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, that offensive line, and defensive. Talented. Exactly. They can't revert back to their old ways, especially after a dumb loss that really doesn't mean anything, I think. Because like I said, they will lose this game. Come playoff time, those Cleveland Browns will not make the same mistake twice, I believe.
See, I was flipped, that's so funny to me. Go ahead, Jack.
They definitely learned. They will learn from this experience, take whatever lessons they can forward into the next game. I don't know who they play next, but
they play Houston. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Am I gonna chuck it as a win? I don't know. I can't.
Houston's got to play an angry Browns team that just.
This
they're gonna puncture Tyrod's lung and somehow
Davis
get him out.
Mills.
Yeah, Davis Mills is gonna throw for 4 touchdowns against the Browns. The next game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. The Davis Mills All-Pro campaign is beginning next Sunday, apparently.
Let's go.
So, let's move on to the other AFC North team, or one of the other AFC North teams. The Baltimore Ravens. Again, I talked about this at length yesterday. What are your guys' thoughts? Ravens, Raiders. Raiders win 33-27 in overtime. So I have some interesting thoughts, but go ahead.
I'm sure you do. Let me quickly run through what happened here. This game goes to overtime because of a 55-yard kick. First of all, that kick was fantastic. 55 yards. Who was that? That was
Daniel Carlson.
Yeah.
Vikings legend, Auburn legend too.
That was incredible. And then that gets the game in overtime. Raiders win the toss. It looks like they're driving down the field. They're going to win the game. Bryan Edwards had a fantastic catch on the sideline. Almost got it into the end zone. He was down at the 1 when they reviewed it. Everybody thought it was over. Everybody was coming off the sideline. Gruden had his headset off. It was looking like
players were, quote, hugging and kissing on the field.
Pretty much. That's what it looked like. But he's down at the 1, and then they get backed up a little bit because of a penalty, and Derek Carr throws a pick, which is an absolute Madden glitch.
Okay, you're burying the lead a little bit. Carr, it was not Carr's fault.
It was not his fault. I'm not blaming him.
It went through Willie Snead's hand, Ravens legend Willie Snead, right through his hands. If he catches it, game over. Then it goes off of Deshaun Elliott's helmet, like right off.
It was a Madden glitch.
Spirals up in the air.
It was absolutely a Madden glitch.
Like, what? I've never seen that happen before. I've watched thousands of football games at this point. Thousands. I've never seen that happen. I've seen it happen in Madden, but I've never seen it happen in real life. And
at this point, I'm thinking if the Ravens even sniff field goal range, they're kicking it. Tucker's going to make the kick. It's automatic. He's going to nail it from no matter how far away.
I get stressed out when people talk about how good Justin Tucker is.
Because then you think he's going to just miss it. Like, don't talk about his I
almost tweeted something about it, but I decided not to. I didn't want to
jinx it. I talk all offseason like he is the best kicker in NFL history because he is the best kicker in NFL history. But then as soon as week 1 starts, it's like...
You're nervous.
And then... Lamar Jackson ends up fumbling the ball. Raiders drive it right back down and score the winning touchdown.
Okay, I do think he buried the lead a little bit there. It was a 3rd down play. He got pressured. If he gets sacked and there's no fumble, the Raiders get the ball and walk right down the field like they had the previous 2 possessions.
Sure.
But
I agree.
You're going to blame it on Lamar for getting it punched out, and it just it would have delayed.
It's not Lamar's fault.
I don't think
right now. No one is to blame for this.
I'm actually blaming Harbaugh for this loss, to be honest with you.
Ooh. I think the bulk of the blame is on the offensive line. Yes, Lamar could have played better, but to me there's a difference between you are the reason we lost and he just wasn't MVP Lamar. Like I think there are plenty of games around the league. Say take Cleveland. That Baker Mayfield is not the reason they lost this game. That Kansas City is just a better team. Or you look at Minnesota, which we'll get to. It's not because any player sucks. It's just sometimes you lose overtime games. It happens, right? You sometimes lose another team's home opener with their quarterback coming back. And there's a ton of factors that go into this. And I think Baltimore, you're walking out of there really annoyed that you lost and really annoyed that Kansas City is coming up on your schedule. But I think everyone outside of the offensive line played reasonably well. I don't think there was – I think Lamar plays that game 10 times. I think they would generally win. And one, props to Daniel Carlson because that was a banger of a field goal. But how many points in that game, if you just stop it, could you say, there's a 90% chance Baltimore wins at this point? There's honestly, like 5 in the 4th quarter.
That Latavius Murray play was not called for. I think they should have kicked the field goal on that one too. He got stopped on 4th down.
I hated. I don't know why. Murray on the graphic, I'm like, nope.
Why?
Nope.
You have Tyson Williams that's doing well, and
or freaking Lamar Jackson.
Anyone else, but
that one set me off. That one set me off.
That's why I blame Harbaugh. That's why I'm not going to blame the running backs. I'm not going to blame Lamar because John Harbaugh put Lamar Jackson in a position with no running backs. They already have no receivers. Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins, week 1.
Oh, Hollywood Brown was really good.
They did what they were good. But that team, I believe, is not built to have Lamar drop back 5 steps that many times. Lamar had to put the game in his hand. Right, because of the offensive line. Yes. I just think that Harbaugh had to come into this game with a better scheme. I don't know where Andrews was. He was non-existent.
And Patrick Ricard was a better receiver. Like
Patrick Humphrey, you have all these guys that got paid big in the offseason. It's week 1. I get it. He gave up on that last play.
Yes, but I think it's kind of exaggerated because let's say he plays to full effort, he still gets beat. Like
at least make it look like you're trying because to me it looks like
it does look really bad. I will give you that, but I don't think that means
it doesn't take anything away from him. I think he
doesn't mean he sucks. It's just
nothing to demote him. It's just I think next time if I'm Harbaugh, I'm watching that time. I'm like, as a coach, why are you stopping? I don't care.
You're ripping into it.
Give me the. Oh, sorry. Give me the effort. I'm mad about it, but like to see Lamar get abused in a way like that because this poor man had to do everything.
13 pressures.
Max Crosby, no offense to Max Crosby, but he's not a premier like.
He did have a nice sack tally in 18. 19. He did get a little. Crosby's so weird, but I want to. Full credit to Carl Nassib, who was great. Yannick Ngakoue, speedy recovery, he was great. And then Max Crosby, he was awesome. But I will say that the Ravens offensive line got exploited.
They need to do a lot better.
Sure.
I want you guys to, at some point in your life, go back and watch the ugly game known as Week 1, Ravens at Broncos 2015. It is one of the worst games.
The 8-touchdown Peyton Manning game?
Oh, no, that was 2013.
Okay.
This is one of the worst games I think the NFL has ever broadcast. Both offenses were so bad. Like it was both of them have good defenses. But neither offense, I think if you had put, you know how in Madden you can do like offense only?
Yeah.
They still would not have been able to move the football. They played so poorly. Both the Ravens and the Broncos played so poorly that it was just unreal how bad that game was. Go back and watch that. That's the only time I've ever seen the Ravens offensive line just get killed like that. I've seen a lot of bad offensive line performances, a lot of them, but this is number 2 on the worst list. So I think we've spent more than enough time on that. Let's go to the other primetime game. Your Rams, Jack. Congratulations, Matt Stafford.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Stafford is here. Holy crap.
He looks like he's home. He looks so happy to be there.
He was going crazy.
White arm sleeve, running up the field like this.
The shoe sleeve Matt Stafford hits different.
This whole new Matt Stafford, I've never seen this guy in. This is not the Detroit Lions Matt Stafford. This is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
He looked like a god. I'm sorry. Like he was making throws. That Cooper Kupp and him are going to have 2,000 yards.
Let me explain. So the game opens with the Bears returning the opening kickoff to about the 40. And then after that, David Montgomery, who was one of the few bright spots for Chicago, by the way, I thought he looked fantastic. He takes it about to the 10, somewhere in the red zone. Then Justin Fields comes in for a play, which
he scored.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting, to say the least. And then there was the pick in the end zone, and I'm like, okay, the defense does know this is actually a game that counts.
Wow, I wish you could have told Baltimore that after they got a red zone interception.
Hey, tell us Tampa
3
too.
plays later. So there's a run play with Henderson. Stafford throws a completed pass to Higbee. His third play, his second pass, bomb to Van Jefferson.
That was beautiful.
And
that was insane.
All the credit in the world to the Stafford and Jefferson, but what in the world was Eddie Jackson doing on that play?
Yeah, I think he's a Rams fan.
He played like it for sure.
He had the Rams with the spread.
He forgot you're supposed to touch a guy when he's down, and he just let him waltz right into the end zone.
I don't know what happened. Oh boy. Oh, we got a story. So finish up your Rams thing, and I got a player to tell you about.
All right. Well, the next thing I was going to mention was Cooper Kupp, because he also had a fantastic touchdown. And you know what was funny too was I found a tweet on Monday which said that Cooper Kupp, he did not know how wide open he was until he looked back and watched the play again. Like there
was like 20 yards of separation. I'm not kidding.
It was literally the Bears practicing social distancing. It was ridiculous.
Yes.
Were they a field goal block or something? Because that guy just got over top and took the top off of them.
Yeah. Stafford's third TD was a fantastic catch by Robert Woods in the back of the end zone. That was
Bobby
incredible how he got his feet.
That ruined the over for me, though.
I do want to throw out Rob Havenstein.
Oh, he made Khalil Mack.
Great game.
He made Khalil Mack look like a rookie, pretty much.
He had an awesome game. I think he was the third highest graded right tackle. I gave him the number 1 nod in my team of the week because he's going up against Chicago, and Jack Conklin was going up against Kansas City, and he was allowing some pressures. And I'm blanking on the other guy, but he allowed some pressures, and he was playing like a bad front. He wasn't playing Chicago. So
this was
a huge game. What a game! What a game for
Havenstein. I think the Rams offense is back. Let's make that clear right now. They are back to where they were in 2018. I would say
Matt Stafford gave the ball to Darrell Henderson, and Matt Stafford never used to give the ball to the running backs in Detroit. He gave Darrell Henderson 17 carries, and he looked like the RB1 that Cam Akers should have been.
He looked up and down, I'll say. I think the blocking struggled a little bit.
Yeah,
I said that there would be some growing pains in this offense still, which there was, but I don't think they played a completely terrible game. I thought Henderson definitely picked it up as the game went along. Defense, they picked it up as the game went along. Aaron Donald, of course, gets the sack in week 1. I saw that splash. I will bring that up in a moment.
What was that?
That's Colin
the
Coward's
herd hierarchy.
10 teams.
Oh,
herd hierarchy is back, and he put the Rams at number 1. We'll see.
They do scare me though. Week 3, they do scare me in Tampa. Week 3, I will say that.
I think as long as the run game, as long as the run game finds its consistency and the defense tightens up a little bit more, I think they're fine. Best part of the game defensively, Jalen Ramsey got to destroy Darnell Mooney. I love that.
Yes,
he backed up his words for sure.
No Allen Robinson sighting anywhere either. Like
that was weird. That was just weird.
That was bizarre.
These teams. I don't know. These teams. Do they get like? Are you trying to get too cute? You do realize you have one of the best players in the NFL, right? You do realize that.
Speaking of getting too cute, Matt Nagy apparently hates his punter. He kept trying to go for it on 4th down. There was a 4th down and 15 where he went for it. He just never punted. I thought, which is unfortunate because I thought that's where we'd see Tutu Atwell come in. I thought we'd see him returning punts today, but Chicago just didn't want to punt.
No,
today. I said today, but Sunday.
Yeah. I feel like it happens.
The one time they punted was Cooper Kupp called for a fair catch. So
yeah,
not much there, but Stafford, star of the show, over delivered. I think he played fantastic.
Perfect
exactly
QBR.
As advertised. 156.1 QBR or passer rating.
That was great.
That's near perfect. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this.
I can't. Yeah, I'm not even a Rams fan, and I'm just I can't wait to see what Stafford.
When Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods all getting touchdowns, you love to see it.
Yes,
you love to see it.
You know what else I love to see? Derwin James is back, baby. I know, Jack, you're.
I didn't see it.
Hater, but
you know what I saw from that game was the pipe bursting open at.
Okay. Oh, that was disgusting.
That was off so bad, so bad.
Washington in a nutshell, right there.
Okay, Derwin James was awesome. We all knew this, but he's back. He had a 90 PFF grade. He was second among safeties to. It was not Marcus Williams, Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan was awesome for the Giants. Forgot to mention him, but Derwin James is back. Justin Herbert is back.
Herbert looked great.
Keenan Allen's back.
Keenan Allen's
Slater was really nice.
Splash, I don't know if you saw the post where I called Justin Herbert out. I was like, this is what he was kind of doing last year, where he put together good games in the first 3 quarters, and then he threw that pick, and I'm like, oh no, he's doing it in the 4th quarter again. But he bounced back. I thought he responded well.
How was that special teams? Also, Jack, were they good enough for you?
I didn't see it.
I didn't see any catastrophes.
Like I said, my prediction pretty much went about correct except for the winner in this one. I thought Washington was going to win, but I thought it was going to be a close game. Some team was probably going to steal it at the end.
Mm-hmm. Went on a field goal. Yeah.
I think that fumble though by Gibson and then the injury to Fitzpatrick kind of derailed that momentum because they should have won that game. But then again,
the Gibson fumble is brutal because at a certain point you punt the ball and the Chargers have to go the length of the field, right? If you give the Chargers the ball inside your 15, you're screwed. And I do want to throw out there that if a team loses, it does not necessarily mean they suck.
Especially in week 1.
Yeah, especially in week 1. So there are things that we need to keep an eye on moving forward. Speaking of, Seattle Seahawks, Shane Waldron, Russell Wilson, A+ is all around. I thought Wilson was the best quarterback in week 1. I know PFF grade doesn't match that, and I know most people are leaning Kyler. But give me Russell Wilson, 3 big-time throws, 4 tutties, a 152.3 passer rating. One of my hot takes before the games, I said Brandon Ayuk would score twice. He didn't get a catch. The Browns will win. That didn't happen. And Russell Wilson will have a perfect passer rating. I'll take a 152.3 when I was predicting a 158.3. Wilson was unreal. Lockett was unreal. Metcalf did enough. Dwayne Eskridge was cool. I liked it. The offensive line was solid. Chris Carson did some things. I think he had a fumble, though. And the pass rush, that's a good Colts offensive line. The pass rush worked. I know people are going to be skeptical of Seattle because they fell apart last year. But
they have more weapons this year, I feel like. And even Gerald Everett scored. I think I said, that's going to be a nice safety valve.
It's a really Rams-esque offense, though, because Shane Waldron is kind of incorporating everything down there. The thing, when I got, I saw tweets about how people were frustrated about that. You know what? The NFL is a copycat league. It happens.
Yeah, you have three teams in the same division running essentially the same offense.
Especially when you've come from a Sean McVay coaching tree, you're gonna carry some stuff over.
And they're all undefeated this week, so who cares what you guys think? Because they won their game.
Yeah, that's true. And and even they're all in the general Shanahan idea. Like they were all together under Mike Shanahan when he was with Washington. Kyle, I think, was the OC. McVay was he was there. Yeah, he was an assistant, like a lower level assistant. So they're all doing the same things. It's just a little bit different because of personnel, because the Rams and Seahawks don't have Kyle Juszczyk and they don't have George Kittle, right? So they're gonna run a tiny bit different personnel. But I mean, Seattle and the Rams are going to have a very similar offense. Lots of 11 personnel, lots of play action, and I'm really excited to see Seattle. I know people are going to want to say, "Oh, pump the brakes." They always come out like this in September, but it's
not last year.
It's not a criticism to say they only play well in September. Because that means they're playing well. They're doing something. I would rather you come out with a hot start than start cold, right?
Very much so.
Next Tuesday, when we're having the show, we're going to be talking about some 0-2 teams. I would much rather be 2-0. If you're Seattle, I would much rather start the season and beat Indy, beat Tennessee than it's not the same Seattle team, because last year Seattle team started 5-0 and ended 11-5. Okay, who cares? Win the games. Win the games that are on your schedule. If you start hot, great. If you start cold, that's not good. You're fundamentally losing yourself games. Did we touch on New Orleans, Green Bay?
What's to touch on? The fact that Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks and didn't look like himself, and that Jameis Winston has LASIK surgery and there's no 5 touchdowns on nobody.
Jameis Winston was unreal. Marcus Williams was great. Shout out Paul Debo.
I think LASIK was trending during that game.
Yeah,
people were like, "Oh, this makes a lot of sense."
Also, there were 2 positives from Green Bay. Their names are Josh Myers, the center who replaced Corey Linsley, and Elgton Jenkins, who replaced David Bakhtiari at left tackle. And big shout out to Jenkins, that he has played at an elite level at 3 different NFL positions. He was awesome as a left guard last year. He was awesome early in his career as a center. And he went out and played left tackle in the NFL, and he was awesome. So big shout out to Jenkins, big shout out to Myers. Not like it mattered, because Rodgers had one of the worst, if not the single worst game of his career.
Actually, so you're talking about left tackles, and we're in the north. Panay Swile got great credit. Left tackle for the Lions.
Sewell was awesome. Also, Slater.
Credit from
we didn't touch on Slater, but yeah, Slater and Sewell were
just awesome. Rookies this week. A lot of them played.
I love it. I just love watching these.
Odafe Owe had 4 pressures and a sack. He didn't have a sack all of last season at Penn State. He gets a sack in his first NFL game. I'm so happy for him. Also, Joe Tryon Shoanikwa. I don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah, he's gonna be a problem. Arians loves him. He's like the Jamie Collins.
I didn't even try spelling his name on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like I can get Tryon, and then you have to hyphenate it. It's like, really? It's like a Trevon Morig Woodward. I would always forget there's a Woodward at the end.
This is why we don't say Vita Vea's full name.
Try it. What is it?
I did it on my stream. I did. It was not fun. It was not fun.
See this.
He's
wow. So Tyree Phillips is Baltimore's 14th player on the injured reserve. That is the most in the NFL. Cool. All right.
What a name.
What is that? How do you put that on a birth certificate?
Must be a really big one, or just small text. I don't know. That's just how they do it. And he's from Hawaii, I think, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like Hawaii, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's go, I guess, rapid fire through the remaining games. We touched on I'm just looking at the ticker. Okay, let's see. We touched on Thursday Night Football. We got that. The next game after that in the list, Philly-Atlanta. Philly was awesome. Atlanta had the worst game of the week. I think objectively there were no positives to take from that game.
They started out hot though. They had a few.
Yeah, they had a couple of nice drives, and then they fell off a cliff. Houston played really well against Jacksonville. That was a strange game. We did touch on that one. Pittsburgh was great against Buffalo.
Philly and Atlanta we didn't really talk that much about.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow's first game back.
Big props to Joe
That
Burrow.
one too, yeah.
Joe Mixon is RB1 again.
The Vikings losing that one surprised me. I thought Joe Burrow was going to play well, but I didn't think
overtime games are tough, though. That
wasn't an overtime game, was it?
Yeah. It's all stamina at that point, and it just looked like Cincinnati could serve themselves a lot better. Joe Mixon touched the ball.
Fumble, right? Yeah. They had a goofy fumble. Minnesota had a goofy fumble that, it's the kind of thing, and I could echo this with the Baltimore game. If one play goes differently, we're not having this conversation.
Exactly.
If Dalvin Cook doesn't fumble, Minnesota at the very least ties. And if Vegas doesn't make a 55-yard field goal, Baltimore wins the game. We're not saying Lamar sucks. We're not saying this. We're not saying that. They're 1-0. Minnesota would be 1-0 or 0-0-1. So
I think Minnesota and the Titans need to open their eyes. And there's a thing called the play action. The play action with your running backs. You got to run it a lot more than you did because they weren't able to fool anybody on those plays.
Yeah. It was a mess. Okay, quick before we go into hot takes, what team are you selling the most on?
I think Buffalo's right now. Everyone that I saw, they did what they did, but I just can't get over how poorly Big Ben.
Oh, we also didn't touch on Panthers Jets. Sam Darnold was okay.
Sam Darnold was okay in the revenge game, but I thought
congratulations.
It's the Jets.
Jets covered. That's all that matters to me. All right,
Zach Wilson's gonna sling it, but I think just because if Big Ben plays better, it's more of a blowout. So I'm scared that even though Big Ben crapped the bed, in a way, the Buffalo still wasn't able to get anything going consistently. It's not the Buffalo team I saw last year. Josh Allen just got paid. I don't know if it's the one game jitters, but it's for right now, week 1. That was the only game I thought that kind of set me the wrong way because I thought Buffalo was going to blow them out of the water. I'm like, oh, Big Ben's playing bad. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you there. We thought it was going to be a lot different than it turned out, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is a team that you have to have this conversation with, but their quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. And also you throw in, I think Indy might sound a few alarm bells. They didn't look very good. Tennessee, rightfully so, can sound a few alarm bells.
Eagles
Baltimore,
fans.
argue you could sound a couple of alarm bells.
Eagles fans probably think that they're probably pretty happy because they won their game and then Jalen Hurts looked great, but then the Colts lost with Carson Wentz playing. So
yes, this is true. True. And somehow a Seattle versus Wentz game didn't end 17-9.
I mean, Wentz didn't play that bad though. At least he had 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble, no picks.
Hey, we get to play them next week.
Oh God. Okay, no. Then I revert what I just said back. I'll come back to that Carson Wentz talk next week. We might have Jacob Eason come in pretty soon.
Also, the team that I'm selling most is Chicago. They have no business being on an NFL field. Actually, Chicago and Atlanta. Atlanta, I get why they're so bad, but Chicago, I don't think they have any reason to be that bad.
Until they start Justin Fields, I don't care what they do.
My hot take ended up being freezing cold about Atlanta. I said Kyle Pitts would get 3 touchdowns. He didn't even come close.
Where was Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts and Russell Gage? Nowhere to be found.
Russell Gage had an 0-0-0 game.
He's like, what? What are you doing, Atlanta?
That was stupid. All right, let's roll through these hot takes. Let me get up the hot take-o-meter, which I actually have for once. I am prepared, boys. Wow, and Jack can get the little thingamabob going.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that for a second.
What?
Here, we'll do it at the same time.
Whoa. Do you guys like horror movies?
Oh, I can't. Me and my girlfriend are ready to watch because I'm going to Vegas this week, and then I'm going to Michigan. After I come back in October, it's gonna be nothing but horror movies. Nice. Halloween, Beetlejuice, all that kind of stuff.
Also, I want to point out, I was doing some research the other day because Baltimore, the Orioles, did Ravens themed jerseys on their Twitter, and I thought, I wonder how often a Major League Baseball team had fewer wins than that team's NBA team, or that city's NBA team. And then I also expanded it to, I wonder how many times a team or city's NFL team had more wins than its NBA team. So I wanted to point out the 1993-1994 Cowboys, the Super Bowl champions in 93, had 24 regular season wins in 2 years. The Dallas Mavericks had 24 regular season wins in 2 years. And then you factor in the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. The Cowboys had more wins in 2 years than the Dallas Mavericks had in 2 years. And the Mavericks play 82 games a year. Also, in 2003, when the Tigers went 43-119, the Pistons and Red Wings won more than 43 games. So congratulations. Go Wings.
That reminded me of like how Justin Turner and Corey Seager were at the Rams game on Saturday, and then on Monday Stafford was at the Dodgers game watching Kershaw pitch, and that was the same. The Sunday night football game was the same day that the Dodgers swept the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun.
Big shout out to Max Scherzer.
Sweep the Padres and then go watch a Rams game afterwards.
3,000 strikeouts, immaculate inning.
Scherzer too, yeah.
It must be nice to be in LA right now.
Almost have a perfect game. He had like 7 perfect innings.
Yeah. He was great. Okay, let's roll through these hot takes. This is from the Jackson Kelly. Packers are actually terrible. Detroit wins this week easily.
Please let the freaking Lions win this game.
He said. I'm gonna say it's at Lambeau. That's the tough thing. There is no chance that the Packers play that poorly again. I'm gonna say Ghost Pepper.
I forgot how the hot take meter worked for a second. I thought those super hot ones are on the top. Yeah, Ghost Pepper. The Packers should bounce back, no problem.
I think it'll be closer than we think.
I think the spread's 12.5.
Whoa. So
it's double digits.
I'll take Detroit plus 12.5.
It's double digits. It's up there.
They have no receivers.
Why is that the spread? Jeez.
Detroit has running backs to throw the ball to, so I don't know. Can they stop the Detroit Lions dual running back core? I don't know. Jamal Williams' revenge game? I don't know.
Interesting.
It could be closer, but I think it's closer than 12.5, though.
Yeah. Okay. Fiend says Cardinals winning the Super Bowl and Kyler wins MVP. I think this is a reasonable week 1 hot take. Like, I think it's
a lot of these are, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's within the realm of possibility that Kyler could certainly win MVP this year.
And I think sure.
He was great.
Super Bowl though, I don't know.
That's gonna be tough. I need to see more consistency out of the defense. It's been 1 week. You played Tennessee.
And that offensive line needs to be better.
Tennessee should have been better though.
Yeah, Tennessee had a goofy game. Henry didn't get going. Brown didn't do anything. Julio Firkser, nothing.
Chandler Jones is great. He's not going to have 5 sacks every game. And
he's on pace for a lot of sacks.
85 sacks.
More people are going
did he pass J.J. Watt in career sacks yesterday?
Did he actually?
I think so.
No, he took 5 sacks in 1 game.
I'm surprised Nick isn't letting Nick L isn't letting me hear it for him having more sacks than Aaron Donald this week, but
Aaron Donald can have 0 sacks this season, and I'll still make him one of the best D tackles. Just what he brings to the table is more than enough. His pressures were really good. Exactly.
He had 6 pressures. He was tied for second behind Hayward.
Anyway,
big shout out Javon Hargrave as well, Eagles interior player. Told him.
Speaking of the Eagles,
looks like the Birds are back. Definitely championship bound. I agree. The Ravens are back. Definitely championship bound.
When you say Birds, I know.
You could just go anywhere.
There are like what 7 teams you could be talking about there.
Is it 5? Baltimore, Arizona, Seattle,
Seahawks,
Arizona,
Cardinals,
Atlanta.
Ravens,
Philly?
Eagles,
Falcons.
Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Eagles,
Falcons.
I think there's got to be one more.
No, that should be it.
No, that's it. Yeah,
that's it. I think maybe. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of bird teams.
Yeah, it's Atlanta. Atlanta just was bad. I don't think there's any way around that. Philly played well, but I don't think Philly is like a top 20 team in the league. I think they're like trending in the right direction for sure, but I don't know. I do need to see more than 1 week. Fella says Mac Jones is the best rookie quarterback. Yes. Milk. Okay. Milk. Magic Mike FF. TJ Hawkinson will outscore George Kittle rest of the season.
I kind of like this one, honestly.
This is a solid one.
I guess because the Niners have so many options. So I think Ayuka's healthy. Debo Samuel, Shearfield. I mean, I see it. I mean, because look, you had Detroit that had how many risk targets did Jamal Williams have? How many targets did DeAndre Swift have? And how many catches did anyone else that wasn't a tight end or a running back on that team get?
Hey, Amon Ra did something. Khalif Raymond scored me some fantasy points. Don't ask me why I had Khalif Raymond, but
I won't.
He's in a 16-team league, guys.
32-team league, actually.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Here's my strategy. I drafted all week 9 players. So like Seattle, Washington, and then
So you're gonna take the week 9 L and just carry them all.
That was my problem. That was seriously my problem.
The worst part was I had an argument in the group chat with the guy that I play week 9 after the draft, like, because he was arguing something about Will Fuller because he didn't want Fuller because Fuller sucks or Tua sucks, and that he was projected to score 0 this week because he's suspended, and we got into a big argument about that because I thought he was a moron for taking 2 starting quarterbacks in a league that you only have 1 quarterback. It was a super flex. So we get into this argument, and then I realize I'm playing him week 9, so he gets a free win, but I got killed because my running back sucked. Rojo had a negative day.
And he's starting this week again. Watch him go off for like.
I think Rojo will bounce back.
I think he'll bounce back easily.
All right, last couple. Mac Jones wins Offensive Rookie of the Year.
There's probably a chance he could if he keeps putting up performances like that. I think maybe.
I think he could, but I just don't see that offense being as explosive as, say, I don't know. I feel like Lawrence and Lance, like if they can get their starts early or get going early, if they just put a bunch of numbers up, like rookie wise, I feel like.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you said Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jamar Chase is in a good case of that as well.
Yeah, Chase was really good. Smith was awesome, and Waddle scored a touchdown as well. So I don't know. I think with Jones, I think you have to throw out the traditional Offensive Rookie of the Year, like you just put up a bunch of stats, like say Baker or even Herbert last year, because I don't think Jones is going to have a statistically dominant season. He should have a very good season on tape. Like the tape is going to be great.
I think he takes the leap forward next year, and I believe they give him that receiver they're looking for next year, maybe like a one guy to give him those stats.
Like I don't know, Olave, Garrett Wilson. I don't know the wide receiver class super well this year. But last one from Nick L, friend of the show, Kyler and Hopkins make Pat Pete pull Avonte Davis next week.
I don't know what he means by that.
What?
Quit halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
They looked like they picked off wherever they left off. And that Kyler, and can I have an RIP to what's his name? Bud Dupree's ankles. Like Kyler Murray's my quarterback in fantasy, and I'm watching him. I'm like, and he's fat. He's like, boom, 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 go, whoop, pop. I'm like, this guy is gonna be amazing. Just please get him some offensive line help.
DJ Humphries is good. DJ Humphries is really good.
Oh yeah.
So I think that'll wrap us up today. A little bit of a shorter show.
Not too much to go about. Just week 1,
Yeah, just some good football. I do want to throw out there in the chat if you guys want an opinion on something. So every week I write articles and I do a team of the week, quarterback power rankings, and team power rankings. If you want to see that in a video form, drop it in the chat or message me because I'd love to do so. I think it'd be really cool content. I love talking about quarterbacks. I love talking about the teams in general. And there were 22 players that had awesome weeks. And I want to highlight them. So if you guys want to see more of that, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram at uSTADIUM.
Ring the bell on YouTube, by the way.
Ring that bell. Ring that Le'Veon bell.
Yeah, still practice squad.
Yeah, still practice squad. Although Baltimore just put 2 more guys on injured reserve.
That poor team. I hate injuries. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a team that I hate. That is just it's sad for the game and it's bad for the game.
Yes, it is bad. And it's also bad when freaking John Harbaugh doesn't give Tyson Williams the football.
He looks so good.
Oh, he was gnarly. All right. I think that'll do us for today. Remember, everyone, Aaron Donald trains with knives.